Hey, what's up, nerds? My name is Bubba, and I'm joined with my bestie from the whole wide Westie. No matter how far you go, it'll be west at some point.
What kind of thing am I?
What are you? Well,
what am I?
Not only are you just my best friend, you're also some sort of pick-me.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Well, I didn't have any green on, and I was looking for quickly through the filters, and this is what I happened upon. I didn't want to tell you. I wanted to just let you fall into it.
Obviously, you didn't want to tell me because
surprise.
Yeah,
hey.
I don't have a lick of green on me.
Yeah, I know. Things like that happen sometimes, right?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I'm going to try to turn this thing off eventually, but don't think I can do it. What's happening?
This is your life now. Huh. That's what you look like.
Oh, there it is. I got it. It's cool. No problem.
Oh, no problem. Forget about it. Hey, you are watching Matt and Bubba in the morning. All right. This is a Beard Bros joint, right? And so we're going to be talking a little bit today, and I say a little bit, the whole dang show about games that teach you something. Game schooling. I
was going to say, if you joined us last week on the Free Play podcast, we talked about video games that can teach you something. And a little update here, Erin is bringing home a guitar from her parents' house because her sister just had one lying around, and she said, order that game. So we ordered Rocksmith. I ordered Rocksmith. So it's coming. We'll keep you posted.
I cannot wait. I hope that we're going to come back and look back on this day 5 years, and he's just shredding for.
They call me Matt Van Halen Warmbier.
Matt Van Halen Warmbier.
Eddie Van Matt Warmbier.
I want my hope for him is that one of two things. He either becomes the next John Mayer, which I don't care what you think about John Mayer. He's one of the smoothest guitarists that I've ever lived in the entire.
I think he's hilarious too. So yeah, go on.
Oh yeah. He's got a great TikTok.
And I missed him.
Also. I want him to be the lead guitarist for whatever the next iteration of Metallica is.
Well, I'll keep you posted.
I want them to go, oh, you play like Avon. That's what I want people to say in the future. Yeah.
We'll keep you all posted, or you'll just see us on the stage, I guess. One of us. I don't know.
Just check your local listings.
John Van Halen Warmbier. Matt Warmbier. Halen.
Oh, I love it. Do you have to wear green if you have green eyes?
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
No. But yes and no.
Not. Absolutely not.
Matt, do you have green eyes? You don't have green eyes. You get those baby blues. You get those steel blues. Have you? I kind of felt like a stupid question to ask, but I feel like I have to ask that question to everybody. Sometimes I'm like, what color are Anna's eyes? And I look at her eyes a lot. Her eyes are up here, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But I still am I'm eye color blind most of the time. That's the last thing I'll remember about somebody is what color their eyes were.
Really?
Unless their eyes were jade green, or they had two different color eyes or something like that.
Yeah, two different colors.
I got other things to remember.
Look at teeth. Got a nice set of teeth there, don't you?
Nice set of chapas.
Don't you dare get pinched.
Hey, as we're getting into this thing, make sure that you guys are going and getting some of those magic. What do we got? Morning beans. Get some of those magic morning beans. I have coffee here. This is plebe coffee. This is not Matt and Bubba in the morning. I could lie to you and tell you that it is. It's not that stuff, but I want it to be.
We're getting low. We have this one. We have just a little bit left in another bag downstairs. So,
when I tell you that we mow through those 2.5 pounds, we mow through. I mean, straight through them.
Yeah, it goes quick. And then let's see. You put it in there. Was there any type of code? Just type in whatever code you want.
! Coffee.
Okay,
that'll
great.
Take you straight.
Perfect.
But go ahead and do that, or lovethatnerd.com/coffee. That's from our good friends, our besties in the whole wide Eastie. Because Matt's got the West lockdown. So
okay. Good to be here.
this little bean of mine. And Patrick's here in the chat. If you're watching with us live on twitch.tv/lovethynerd, that is, I believe we go live at 10 a.m.
Eastern Daylight Time.
EDT.
Yep, because now we're in daylight. This week has been rough for sleep.
Oh, dude.
And like, it's like the roughest year in recent memory as far as sleep is concerned. I just don't want to get up.
I was going to say that and try not to be overly dramatic, but I didn't know how.
Well, I just went ahead and said, because that's how I'm feeling, and you can't tell me how I'm not feeling. Or
I guess that is true.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for that follow, Nox Game Dev. Appreciate you. Awesome. That. So Bubba and I are doing this thing where we're going to do like 13 games. We just kind of happen to start doing 13 games, and we're going to continue to do our top 13 games. We're calling this game schooling. So Bubba, you did homeschooling for a good long time.
I myself was not homeschooled.
No, not you. I'm talking about your kids.
I'm a product of the public school.
I am also a product of the public schools, but our families, mine still
heavy homeschoolers.
Are all your kids in school now?
Except for PJ.
I mean, public school. Sorry. Get out of here. PJ, get in school. I'm calling truant's officer.
Right. Yeah. All of my kids, we started taking them, taking them to the bus stop, and the bus takes them to school. We started putting them in school this year, but I mean, for 8 years we did homeschooling. And for some of you, you're like, I was homeschooled my whole life. 8 years is a long time, and I'm not going to let you tell me that's not.
Yeah.
And so,
well, we still mostly homeschool. Our oldest go to a 1 day a week.
I think that's kind of the natural progression, right? Mm-hmm. Because like parents, there is a limitation on how smart we are as parents, right? Like we're smart in some things, but then it's like, your math has letters in it now, and that's just not for me.
Right. And that's kind of where we were getting to the point. But next year we think we're sending our boys to a monastery. So monastery, is that the right word? Monastery, there it is. It didn't sound right when I said it, and I was like, that's not right.
I was like, Montessori. We were both wrong.
Montessori. Well, we're thinking about sending there. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about today. So growing, as our kids grew up, and I'm sure a lot of you all have done the same here, we have used tabletop gaming for part of their education, because there are a ton of games out there that can teach you. And honestly, if you're really thinking about some of the games that you're playing with your kids, like we're going to talk about spatial awareness. We're going to talk about dexterity. We're going to talk about math. We're going to talk about some science here. We tried to kind of hit the whole gamut of games that both of us have played most of these games. But we're trying to find the games like that actually you can sit down, and either it's going to bring discussion during the game, or it's going to make the kids and yourself think and want to learn more after the game. So we have a lot of games. We have 13 games.
So again,
and there are a ton of them.
To break down, I'm looking in the chat here. First of all, hey, applesauce and milk, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh yeah, yes.
The distinction we're making here is not video games, tabletop games. Because remember, Beard Bros, with Matt and Bubba in the morning, this is we're focusing solely, like laser focusing on tabletop experiences.
That's a good reminder.
You want to hear what we said about video games? Go to Free Play. Like we already talked about all that, and like a lot of those things that you guys are bringing up, we did talk about on Free Play, because it's kind of low hanging fruit. But today, this morning, we are talking about tabletop.
Yep.
Tabletop. So, Matthew, you wanna just get into this thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first game on our list, and I don't think you've played this one, Bubba, it's called Einstein, His Amazing Life in Incomparable Science. And you're like, wow, that's a mouthful. But it's a whole long name for a game, but the game is not that complicated. So you're getting, each player is one of 4 Einsteins from different periods of his life, and you're trying to put together this big idea. So you have young Einstein, you have prime Einstein, you have globetrotting Einstein, and you have wise Einstein.
And plays basketball.
The Harlem Globetrotter Einstein. So you all have your own decks, and on each of those decks is just a little bit of information about something Einstein has done in his life during that period of his life. And you're trying to match. I don't know if you have another photo, Bubba. You probably don't. I won't tell you to zoom in, but in the middle of that right there, each of those individual pieces have little symbols on it that you're trying to match with other ones. You're trying to make
what do you think about that?
There you go. You're trying to make this grand idea by beginning through all of your deck. But what I've done for my kids is making sure that they're reading those cards as we go, just because they're like, it's really interesting stuff. I'm trying to let's see if I can. It's talking about his, chemistry theory, his mathematics, his physics theory or thesis, and then just a bunch of things about Nobel Prize and playing the piano and really I know it's kind of all over the place, but it really what was his favorite deodorant? It's super cool. The facts that they give you are oh man, I had no idea. You think Einstein, you're oh, E equals MC squared. And I mean, yes, that is a part of it.
Yeah. It's the theory of relativity, man.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say it, but,
hey, some of us did our third grade research paper on ye old Mr. Einstein.
You did. Well, you should have had this game because you could have maybe learned a little bit more. So,
impossible.
So there's 4 shapes. Each Einstein places tiles representing their ideas. So you're all putting your ideas into the middle to have this grand idea. And
it doesn't necessarily have to work out. It doesn't have to make an actual compound or anything. Just the lines have to line up.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. It looks really cool when you start playing the game, and really you don't have to know about really anything Einstein or the theory of relativity or sciencey stuff to play this game, because it's a lot of just matching. So it's super cool, and I highly recommend it. This game is going to be a little bit, I think an 8-year-old can play it easily. It does say 8+ on it. It's from Artana Games. It's 2 to 4 players. You're going to be able to play in about 15 to 45 minutes. Really, I think as your kids get a little older, they're going to be able to kind of dig a little deeper. Hopefully it kind of sparks something that they want to learn some more. So that's Einstein and his amazing, Einstein, his amazing life and incomparable science. So it's pretty dope.
So great game. Title could use a little bit of work.
To say it's the Einstein game. We just call it the Einstein game in this house. Okay.
Go get the smart box of smarts.
That's right. Awesome. Bubba, let's move on to the next one. Yeah. The next one is Subatomic, an atom building game. And this is from Genius Games. It's 2 to 4 players, 40 to 60 minutes long. And it says ages 10+. And I tend to agree with that. This is a deck building game in which players compete to build a number of available elements which score them points. So you're talking about protons and neutrons and electrons, and really it's a deck builder. So if you can do a deck builder, you don't have to dig deep and really talk about all these steps. But what I've found with a lot of these types of games, learning games, what are we calling it? I keep asking you what we're calling it, and I keep
game schooling. Fungicational.
That's fungicational. The first few times you play it, you might not really get into the nitty gritty about talking about what exactly you're learning. But I think as the kids get more comfortable with the game that you're playing, I think especially this one, you can really start diving a little bit deeper into it. Each player starts with the same small deck, consists of protons, neutrons, and electrons. They use these cards to build up their current atom. So it's going to be talking a lot about atoms. And honestly, this is something that for me, I don't know a ton about. So it was really helpful to be able to hey, let's talk about this, these atoms, this hydrogen atom, or whatever. We played this game camping a couple of years ago at this point. And the kids just freaking loved it. Learning games. There you go, Chad. Learning games.
Yeah, edutainment.
Educational.
You kind of wonder why these aren't words yet, and then you say them out loud, and you're like, "Oh, that's
too many mixtures." So, it's super easy. If your kid can play, or your people you're playing with, if you can play a deck building game, typically a deck building game is you're going to have a hand of cards. And those cards are going to allow you to do certain actions on the board and then purchase more cards to add to your deck. And you're kind of you'll play 5, you discard them, you draw 5 more, you play 5. It's this cycle where you're continually adding more cards. we should have like a whole series about like different types
deck
of
builders. Yeah.
Well, not just deck builders. I mean, just like types of games. Like, oh, here's a deck builder. Here's a worker placement. So put that.
I'll write it down.
Great.
13 best games in a game type.
Awesome. So that's Subatomic. Like this is like these last two are pretty brainy. And I honestly think they're a little.
I love deck builders though.
Yeah, I do, and I do too. And that's why I think this one's so approachable. These ones will be. It says like 8 and 10 plus for both of them. Like I think, especially with Subatomic, is going to be your like older kid. At least if you want them to like learn about particles and things. So,
dude, I'm just real quick.
Yep.
Anna's right. That actually didn't make our list, and I'm sorry because there's so many freaking games out there.
Yeah, that's right.
Organ Attack will like teach you about ailments.
Yeah,
and
that's a really good
part
one.
of the body they affect.
That's a really good one.
So next year we'll get it next year.
Yeah. All right. Write it on the calendar.
All right, next.
Cool. Yeah. You want to talk about Rhino Hero Super Battle?
I can talk about Rhino Heroes regular battle. Rhino Heroes everyday battle.
Okay.
I don't have
well,
Super Battle.
You don't have Super Battle?
I'm Phil casual.
Okay, so I'll talk about Rhino Hero Super Battle, but if you've played regular Rhino Hero, then it's not going to be much difference. This is a game from Haba.
It's got a monkey in it.
That's a spider monkey. It's from Haba. It's 2 to 4 players. It's going to be about 10 to 20 minutes long. Ages 5 plus, but really, like if your kid needs to work on dexterity and you don't mind the cards just being knocked over because your young kids are going to do it, I would honestly play it with a 3 or 4 year old as well. They may not get the full rules, but at least they will have fun stacking the cards. So the main concept of this game is you have floor cards in your hand that you are trying to, well, it tells you what to play, and you like a short wall or a tall wall. Sometimes one of each, sometimes either or, sometimes it's a single one. So you're just trying to build this tower up, and after you place your floor and your wall cards, you'll roll a die and you move a little superhero up. There's a rhino, a giraffe, a penguin, some other animal, and you're trying to be at the top of the stack when it falls, or you basically want to be the top one. If you knock it over, you'll lose, and then the next highest will win. So we use this game just honestly like dexterity. Like cards are super easy to tip over. This is Super Battle. If you're playing just regular Rhino Hero, it's just one single tower straight up.
Yeah.
I maybe would even start with that for your younger ones, but really, like, I think it's going to go either way. There you go. Chad.
100% would start with, it's less cleanup.
Okay. It's less cleanup.
I mean, there's a lot going on here. You got to sort the things. You got tall walls and short walls. And if you just want to get in and out,
my box is just like, it's all thrown in there. And that's just how it goes. Like you're done playing, just put it all in the box, and then you organize it when you get it back out. It's like one of the few games I don't actually like clean up well. The rest of them like, oh, is those all in baggies, and where's the container for it?
Yeah.
Just like, get in that box, kid.
That's like kids games in general for you though. Like if you look at like old school Monopoly or Trouble or whatever, it's just dump the pieces in the box. And then Trouble, I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a rant for just a second.
You go right ahead.
Trouble is the worst because it has a hole in the top of the box because of the bubble.
That's the Pop-O-Matic bubble.
Yeah. Well, there's a hole in the top of the box. And so.
But it wouldn't. Yeah, I get it. But like, wouldn't like the box sit every time to sit over the bubble?
Oh, sweetheart. If you think that the box ever sits cleanly on top of Trouble, you've never opened that.
No, I don't have Trouble
back in there.
We're more of a sorry family. Yeah, we're more of a sorry family. So.
Oh, Canadian. I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's Rhino Hero, and I talked about Rhino Hero Super Battle. I should have been posting some links to these, and I wasn't doing it. So
internet.com.
Yeah, internet.com. Rhino Hero Super Battle, super fun, easy dexterity game for your kids. I know, Bubba, we're going to give you like a bonus one here. Beast of Balance is another one you would recommend for dexterity.
Well, it's my number one game of all time, and it didn't make the list because I can't just always talk about Beast of Balance.
I wanted you to give like a quick mention.
Yeah, it to me is the best. is the best balancing game that there is, because you have all of these geometric animals and like weird shapes, and you're trying to balance them on the top of this plinth, which is this white base. It's a white circular base.
Platform, yeah.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is you're not just trying to balance the pieces on there. You're also trying to balance the beasts on the iPad app that is a companion while you're playing this game. So you have to feed the animals that you're putting on the base. They have little RF chips, usually in like the butt or the belly or whatever. You scan it on the plinth, put it on. It goes Bluetooth to the iPad, and then it shows up in time and space. And there's also an AR mode. So like if you want to turn AR on, you can actually point your iPad camera at the table, and it'll show your beasts moving around in real space. If you want to do that. It's super cool.
I think Anna's right in the chat. She says an order of difficulty: Rhino Hero. I don't know what Wonky is.
Wonky.
And then Beast of Balance.
So good.
If you want a pretty like Rhino Hero and Rhino Hero Super Battle are pretty low entry. Like, hey, can you stack cards, kids? Go ahead, and like trying to be just very difficult or not difficult, but tentative, gingerly placing little animals on top of the cards, teaching them to be careful. So cool.
Yeah, or else. You can add or else in there.
Or else.
Or they won't learn. Yeah, again, like you guys are popping off in the chat, all these dexterity games. We're going to do the 13 of all those things. So don't worry about it. We got you.
I see some good ones there too.
Yeah, dexterity is my jam.
Yeah,
all right,
they're just so fun. Like it's really all for everyone. So next is 10 from AEG. We're looking at 1 to 5 players, 15 to 30 minutes, and ages 10 plus. So we
actually have it on the shelf behind me.
There it is. Is it open?
But look how shiny it is.
Yeah,
no,
very
it's still
shiny. You picked this up at Gen Con this last year, right? And I didn't. This is one of those games that went very quickly. They only had a limited supply every day, and you basically had to run there in the morning if you wanted to get a copy. So I know you got one. I think Chad got one, and I
trampled grandma to get one.
You want grandma teaching anybody numbers?
She'll be a grandma in like 40 years.
Sure. Sorry, grandma. Yeah. So, that's right. Frost grabbed both yours and Chad's. So thanks, Frost. I didn't pick it up though.
Thanks for calling me a liar.
Yeah. Frost. I didn't pick it up, and I just didn't I know it made our list of games we were like kind of excited to check out, and I never got a chance to play it until after Gen Con. And then I ended up picking it up myself. This game is it's an exciting kind of push your luck game where you're going to be drawing cards one at a time from a deck on your turn. And you have to choose like whether or not to kind of carry on. So if your numbers ever exceed 10, you can see the numbers right there. If they ever exceed 10, coming out of that middle pile, the middle deck, then you've busted. And then all those cards go into a common area where you can purchase later on. And I'll talk about that in a second. Kind of the thing I like about this is a couple of things. So you're teaching your kids math just by simple, like, all right, here's a 2. All right, 2. And here's a 6. What are we at now? All right. Now we're at 8. All right. Now we're at 4. Are we over 10? Yeah. But what this one adds is you can kind of see it there next to 2. There's these little, those 3 little dots. So when those cards come up, those actually subtract from whatever number you're on. So in this case, that person would be at 5, -5, +2. So we're at -3, +6. We're at, normal 3, +4, we're at 7. So like it's teaching, especially for those kids who are working on like learning like numbers below 0 and kind of being able to add and subtract like pretty quickly. And I mean, it doesn't have to be quickly, but like being able to like just eyeball it and like it's super quick. It's almost like a flashcard in a way. Like, all right, we're at -2. Here's another one. All right, we're at -3 more. So okay, -5. Okay. And then you're just trying to create sets and runs of each color, and then that will get your points. So I think like the points is cool. And honestly, I think anyone can enjoy this game. Really, any of these games we're talking about today, like anyone can enjoy them. Like they're not just for learning. I know Bubba, just going back a second here, Rhino Hero, like those are the games that like we would take to conventions just to play with people because they're so fun. Like, and you get this giant stack. So any of the games any of these games we're talking about, like they're for you, not just for you and whoever you're trying to teach. So, this one, like Bubby, you heard it was difficult. It is not difficult. There is like a kind of a betting mechanic. Like if a wild card comes up, like the round immediately pauses and everyone places bets, like basically bids on whatever that wild card is. You only get one bid, and if you get outbid, you lose, and then the turn starts right back up. So it says 15 to 30 minutes. I think if you're playing with 4 people, it's going to take you close to 30 minutes, especially with younger kids. So
yeah, it depends on how many dot cards are out there. So it could be 15, could be 13, could be 25.
Yeah, and you can bust. You can bust if you go minus 10 or lower as well. So
it does look a little bit like next level phase 10.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, it's super fun, and this is when I'll take the game away. Yeah, okay, great. Do you not like phase 10?
I love phase 10. I'm the guy that's like, let's play phase 10. I don't play around you guys because we have so many other games to play.
That's true.
But if people are like, I just don't know what to play, I'm like, let's play phase 10. And then Anna and several other people are like, I don't want to play phase 10. I enjoy those kinds of games.
Phaser. So this next is 10. Yeah, this is 10 from AEG. Next, we have Wingspan from Stoneheart Games. Maybe you've heard of it. This game this game has sold just about 1 billion copies. I heard a stat yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Like this game has sold. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look it up.
It's the highest selling bird game of all time.
Well, probably that, but no, like it had this. There's a ridiculous stat about how many it sold and like, where it ranks all time. Anyways, if you haven't played this game, do you want to talk about this one, Bubba? You want me to?
Dude, Wingspan is fantastic. So basically, it's the most boring concept for a tabletop experience. Like, just let's get that out there. The game is about watching birds. And I guess if paint drying, the tabletop game, came out, then
it's not you're not just watching birds. You're trying to build the best bird habitat.
No. Hey, no, sir. Like the concept of the game is you are watching birds. That's the concept. Now, what you are actually doing is you're trying to invite these birds basically into your space. And so that's the concept. The mechanic of the game is that it is an engine builder. All right. Yep. You're trying to put the birds in the best possible way, and they can only go in certain spots. Some can go in any spot, but most can only go in certain spots. So you have like you have like the forest or the trees, and you have the grasslands, and then the waterlands. What's that called? The marshes,
wetlands.
And so you have to manage resources. You're going after certain bonuses to have the most in this area or whatever. And then there is stuff at the bottom of the card in brown that's going to trigger every round. So you start from the furthest to the right, and then you work your way to the left. So you're trying to build out the best engine possible to get the most eggs, to be able to gain the most resources so that you can purchase different things, all sorts of stuff. Like this game as a game is fantastic.
Yes.
Like it's so unassuming, and it caught the world off guard, completely off guard.
Yeah. I know when I saw it, I was like, that looks pretty, but I don't think that's my style of game. And
I literally said, a game about birds, that's going to be a pass for me. Thank you.
That's going to be a no for me, bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one, like I said, has sold a ton. You can find this game almost anywhere. You walk into Target, you can walk into
gas station,
Barnes and Noble, flea market. Wherever.
Probably, yeah. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, it's just for us. Like when we play it, we make sure everyone when you play a bird, you read the little stat about it, like the little information about it, and then you're learning about birds. I know that when I've played this game, after I've played, I will remember a bird or some birds I've played, and then going out into the wild, outside, and I'm like, hey, there's an indigo bunting I just played last night. I found it.
The name of this game is Wingspan.
Yeah.
And on the card is the wingspan of each of these birds, and some of the things you might be going after are, you want the bird with the largest wingspan or with the smallest wingspan or whatever.
Birds eat birds.
It's a bird world.
It's a bird world. Yeah.
Early bird gets worms is what I heard. But it's like if you want to like learn about like playing the game, just playing the game is not going to teach you things. Yep. Taking time to read the cards, to actually do the bird watching, like that's what reading the cards does. They put a lot of time and effort into this. I know that Stonemeyer actually released free updates, and I'm trying to remember if I got this pack. I think I did, but the information on some of the cards was incorrect.
Right.
And so they were like,
I think you got it. I think we all did. I got mine. Remember. Well, okay. You would have had to have gone to their website and then just said, please send me.
I think I did.
Please send me.
So anyway, they pour time and effort and energy into making sure that the information on the card is correct. Obi-Wan, hey, thanks for those 13 months. Much preach.
And there are a couple expansions as well that that add a little bit more to the game. Yeah, the European, and there is the Oceania. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Oceania
or Oceanic, something like that.
Oceanic, yeah, that add more birds from those areas of the world, because the base game is just North America. Yeah, I think South America, North and South America birds. I think. And I have them all mixed together now, so I'm not sure what came from where. So there are more birds than you could possibly play in one game. That's for sure.
So many cards.
Yep, so many cards,
and a really dope birdhouse box tower here.
Dice roller. Yep. So that is Wingspan from Stonemeyer Games. Like I said, you can find it anywhere. It's 1 to 5 players. It's going to be about 40 to 70 minutes, but it honestly takes longer when you read all the bird cards and discuss your favorite birds, which I think my favorite 100%. Bird might be the indigo bunting. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's super cool. And
then find it in your local park.
They're hard to find, man. They're around here. They don't come out very often. I usually see them like on the side of the road when I'm driving by, and it's like a flash of blue. So
here's what you do. You hold up the card and you go and you question other birds in the area.
Have you seen this bird? Tell me. And that's going to be 10 plus on the age range. So, awesome.
Bubba. All right, next one.
Parks.
Oh, Mamacita. Mama. Parks. Sometimes you just need a great game. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I personally think, if you are listening to this show right now on any platform at all, at any time, you should own a copy of this game.
Yes.
I truly believe that. It's fantastic. So the whole point of the game, if you haven't heard us just verbal vomit over everything.
Right. I know we have some new viewers and we talk a lot about this game, but just for those of you who have already heard this, go ahead and just pour yourself another cup of coffee, run to the bathroom real fast. Like, we'll promise won't be too long, but we want to make sure we give a little bit of time for this game because it is one of both of our favorites.
Yeah. So the whole point of the game is that you control 2 hikers, okay? A pair of hikers that are going up and down a trail, and you're just visiting national parks. Like, that's it. And they're U.S. national parks. Like that's, I know that there are national parks in other countries. Again, I'm sorry, we are very USA in our tabletop experiences, and I apologize about that. But
hey, we got one coming up that's up for everybody. Come on.
Oh well, we'll see. And so but with this, you're visiting the national. There are 49 national parks.
You're asking a great question. There 59? Are more than that in the world. There are more than that in the U.S. They're not all in the game.
It's on the box. The box will tell you how many there are. But anyway, basically, you're just going up and down, and you can see that there are different spaces on the board here. Each one of these is going to be mixed up every time that you play, and so it kind of teaches you Dodoy. This is what you would do when you go there. So on the ocean, you're going to collect water. On the mountains, you're going to collect a mountain. In the forest, you're going to collect a tree. And then at the vista, you're going to take a picture because everything is highly thematic in this game. What would you do at this spot? Whenever I stop and share a space with another hiker, I have a little campfire token that I flip over because, we share time at the campfire, share stories. I have a canteen that I can drink that gives me bonuses and stuff like that. There's gear that I can use that helps me have a better experience. And I can tell you, gear does help you have a better experience. If you go out there without gear, you're going to have a bad time.
Asia was telling me the other day she was playing and forgot to put the gear out. I think it was Asia. Is that right? And it's like, oh, whoops, we're playing without the gear.
Yeah. Now you're like roughing it, right?
You're roughing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a survival game at that moment.
That's right. That's right. You're going through all of these locations, picking up resources, the sun, the water, the mountains, the trees, to get to the trail end. And when you get to the trail end, you can then visit one of the national parks. And the art on the cards is just like it is art. It's not a photo, but like it makes you feel like you're looking at the real thing. Like just so well done. They have a bunch of different artists who did work on these cards. And every card, every national park card has a little bit of information about where it is. Just quick hits. So
again, like that's where the educational part, like the actual education part of things comes in, is you got to take the time to read the cards, to get into it, to kind of understand what's happening in the game. And when you do that, legitimately speaking, take time and read the cards on all these games that we're talking about that have them, because it helps you play the game better. You won't have to stop and go, well, what do I do here? Well, why do I do this? It's like everything is highly thematic. It's on the card. Parks is my number 2 game of all time. So
it's wonderful.
You've already heard about Beasts of Balance. That's my number 1. Parks is my number 2. And honestly, I don't even have a number 3 slotted. I just know that those are my number 1 and number 2. And they've just came out. They just announced rather a new expansion for it.
Yep.
So there's Nightfall, and then also Wildlife, it's crazy. We saw it at TantrumCon.
And this is from Keymaster Games, and it is 1 to 5 players, 30 to 60 minutes. But again, like if you're chatting, this is something we like to do is like anytime if you've actually visited the national park, like talking about it a little bit, like share a story. And that's just like being able to like allow your whoever you're teaching you to, kids in our case, is like, hey, remember we went to Arches? Like, what was your favorite part about Arches? Like, let's talk about it. Let's remember it together.
French fries.
So, that's right. I love the French fries there.
Yep.
And then it's going to be, it says age is 10 plus. That's probably pretty accurate. You might be able to get an 8-year-old who knows games pretty well.
Caleb plays.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think probably 8's the lowest I would go ish. I mean, if you don't care and they just want to like, you want to let them play and talk about it, that's cool too. It's your game. Do what you want. Cool.
Next
is Drop It from Cosmos. 2 to 4 players, 30 minutes. And you can see right here, this game just kind of stands out. Each player takes a bunch of different shapes of the same color. So green, red, blue, and yellow. I'm always yellow, so don't get any ideas. And you're dropping them into this. It almost looks like Plinko in a way, like without the little
nothing
hookers.
Is inhibiting. Like this is a free fall.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're trying to drop them, and this is going to teach your kid spatial awareness. It's going to teach your kid colors, hopefully, and shapes. So you're dropping.
Teach you a lot about physics, bro.
In physics, because these things like to go crazy when you hit them. So you don't want your own colors to touch each other. You don't want the same shape to touch each other. And if either of those happen, and there's one more, if it like touches the side, there's a color on the side as well, and not in this look, but you won't score points. And there's little lines going all the way up, and there's little dots. You can also hit that give you points as you go up. So pretty quick, simple game, but like almost anyone can play this game. Like, if you can pick things up, like maybe your 2-year-old might eat the pieces. I get that. I think 4 and up is pretty safe on this game. Now, is the strategy going to be there? Probably not. But like just being able to like spatial awareness, like you said, Bubba,
they're agents physics, of chaos, bro.
Yeah, like when you drop these pieces, like where you think they should land versus where they actually go. It just does not work. These things like slide and push others out of the way. So it's a lot of fun. Like this is one we get to the table pretty often just because like it's so like quick and easy.
Yeah.
Do you have this game? You do, right?
Oh, 100%. Yes, absolutely I do. Yeah, this one, I really love it. I really don't love trying to make sure I have all the pieces when my kids are done playing it.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely thought I've lost some pieces. So,
yeah.
Cool. We'll have to drop it. We have like about 15 more minutes here. We want to get these last few.
Easy. Let's do 13 more.
Okay, done. Next is Commissioned. From Car Games. Yep.
By our friends, Pat and Kat over at Car Games. This game, it is a historically accurate account of the early spreading of Christianity. Mm-hmm. Now, full stop. If you are not a Christian, that's totally fine, right? Like this, we're not trying to indoctrinate or do anything like that. That's not what we're saying. This is just like, this is a historical moment, right? Like this, whether or not you believe the same things that we believe about Jesus is, in this case, doesn't matter, because these are things that happen. Like this is how the early church spread in the Middle East, and so it takes you on the historical accounts of missionary journeys of like Paul. I think Silas is in there with him as well, and Barnabas, and you're trying to help the church grow. It's reverse pandemic. Like that is the mechanic.
If you've played Pandemic,
Pandemic, you're trying to take the cubes off the board. When Commissioned, you're trying to put the cubes on the board, and so so that's kind of the basic concept. And I would say get it figured out. This game was actually one of the first games that we looked at and we're like, this is actually like a perfect like homeschool game, perfect homeschool game, because every single card has like history and stuff on there, and then the quote unquote like lore of the game. There's a whole book in the box that's just a history book, basically.
Yep. And you'll pull trial cards, and bad things will happen typically. And on each of these trial cards, there's a little like scripture verse, usually like where this happened in the Bible. So, or something like this happened in the Bible.
It's great. And there's like several, I can't remember exact. I must say like a really high number, like 15. There are a lot of different scenarios to play inside of the game.
I think there's 6 or 8.
They also just released Commissioned the Call, which adds a single player variant and 2 extra players to it as well. Yep. And so like there's a lot of gameplay.
It's 5 scenarios. I just looked 5 scenarios.
55 scenarios. Got it.
Yep.
There's so much to do in this game, and these are not going to be short games. Unless you get wiped out by a flood like I did. And then like you're going to go down immediately. But you're going to have to like work at it. You're going to have to strategize with your teammates. I would not say that this is a game. I play a lot of games with my kids. This isn't necessarily one that we bust out and put on the table, because it gets like real thinky, and different factions have different win conditions, and so it has asymmetry to it. So it's kind of on the high side. It says 13 plus. I tend to kind of agree with that. Maybe you can get like an 11 or a 12-year-old, but like you need a little bit more strategy.
You said different factions, but there are different scenarios that require different win conditions.
No, like the factions in there. So like you can play as you can play. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of
the other one. Yeah, I think the other one. Yeah, there are different win conditions per scenario, so it's like all going to be different. No, you're good.
One thing I will mention. Game.
Yeah, they have another game that is also historic and great too. One more thing I will mention is the map that's in the game here is the actual, not the actual. It's a representation of a map that was created by Rome, I believe, back in that era,
olden times.
So, olden times. So it's super cool. That's gonna be it's 2 to 6 players, about 60 minutes, and like Bubba and I said, 13 plus is gonna be your sweet spot there. So, cool. All right, that's Commissioned. Next we have Planet. Now I've only played this once.
Dude, Planet is legit fun. So you're basically trying to craft the most efficient planet. All right. So you have this, I don't even know what the shape is called.
Hexaball. Yeah.
Dodecahedron. I don't know. Like that's the only word I know. But basically what you're doing is you have all of these tiles that you're trying to pull, and you can place a tile on your planet. You can put a tile anywhere. It doesn't really matter. As far as the placement of it goes. You can see on here there's a blue edge next to a brown edge. But like the more you put that work together, the higher that point count is going to be at the end. And the more kind of animals of that type that you're going to attract, right? So it kind of does teach you a little bit about environments and how different different animals will like flock to a certain kind of area. Like a shark's not going to live in the forest, right? So this isn't necessarily for like Matt, you and I to learn how Earth works.
Right.
This is like, you got kids, you need to teach them basic environments. This is a good way to do that. And it doesn't hurt that the tiles are magnetic.
That was really cool.
Super cool.
Like, that's not like any other game that's out there. Like this, like it does look like a D12, like this, like shape with magnets as you put out like your tiles on. It's really cool.
Icosahedron. Icosahedron.
That sounds made up.
We're just gonna call it a thingamajig.
A thingamajogger.
Yeah, but I like this one. This is from Blue Orange. Again, it's just. It teaches you spatial reasoning as well, and strategy and planning, because you have to kind of look at all the different sides to see if I grab this one and it's sending green in this direction, is that going to work with what I'm doing on the other side of my planet?
Yeah.
You don't want to create just a complete water planet or just a complete tree planet. So
like you said, Blue Orange, 2 to 4 players, 30 to 45 minutes, and it says 8+. That's probably
I've played it with far lower. Yeah,
you can probably play with anyone. I think 8 is where they're going to really start working on their strategy of it. But yeah, I can be.
Yeah, PJ loves this game.
Yeah, let's chew on it.
Yeah,
and that's Planet. And the next one, I have not been able to play this one, but you have. It's called Block. BLOKK.
Almost nobody has played it because it doesn't exist. They went to Kickstarter and it didn't make, and that broke my heart because this game. This is the best spatial reasoning game that I've ever played. Hands down. You have these different polyominoes. They're 3D polyominoes. So I don't know if they're still called polyominoes or tetrominoes or whatever you want to call them, but they're weird shapes. They're weird shapes. And so you have to figure out the best way to fit them together. Multiple ways to play. You can draw cards, you can play random, or you can have it basically programmed out, and you have to lay them down in that order. And so I love this game so much. So much. I was super bummed when it didn't fund, because I want this game to live in my house. I actually asked them if I could keep it, and they said, no, we actually have to send it on to other reviewers. But it's coming back to Kickstarter, so mark your calendars just every day between now and forever.
Just forever. Keep checking.
Awesome. It's kind of like 3D Blockus. It's kind of like 3D Blockus, but you either work in a 3x grid, or I think it's a 5 by grid. And it's really cool because you would think you have more space with the wider base. It makes it more difficult. And so, that's Block. I would say that this is, as far as like a game schooling thing goes, I would put this in my my must buys whenever it does release. It's a game that you can play, like you can have kids play, or you can play as an adult, but in like a game schooling situation, you can trick the kids into thinking that they're just playing a game, but they're actually learning a lot of critical thinking. And so
take that. kids.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. McDoohoo, well, I mean, yes, I think that we can. 13 games was probably a massive undertaking for us to have anything else in this show. But we'll run it up the flagpole. We'll talk to our people about it.
Okay. So that one will come out at some point, and we'll keep you all posted because we like games, and we want you to like games too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next game is Watergate. It's from Floodstone. Nope, not Floodstone. Capstone Games. Flintstone Kids, 10 million strong and growing. So all of you have probably heard about Watergate. Some of you may have been alive during it. Basically, the Nixon administration did some wrong things and it wasn't good. In this game, you're going to take the role. You're going to assume the role of a Washington Post journalist, while the other embodies the Nixon administration. You each have your own unique set of cards. So the journalist is trying to get the information and be able to post it and get it out there, while the Nixon administration is trying to cover things up and not let that information go out. So this game takes a lot of, it's historic. So almost all of the cards has to do with something that actually, I think all of the cards have to do with something that has happened. There it is. It's a 2-player game. You have to have 2-player. It's only 2-player. But every card has a person or an event or something that has happened during the time of Watergate that you can, Aaron and I played it, and it's like one of those, I don't know who this person is, but I'm going to go ahead and look him up right now and find out more information. So I was not alive during Watergate, so I honestly don't know a ton about it.
Neither was Library Night. She just wanted everybody to know.
Prove it. It's a pretty quick game. I think it's 30 minutes. It's 30 to 60, depending on how back and forth it is. You're trying to get this. There's that tracker on the right side of the board there. You're trying to move the little cylinders back and forth.
Move it up or down?
Both, because you sit across from each other. So depending on where the white or the red go, you get more or less information, and you're trying to connect parts on the board, the actual board, like the colors. So you're trying to connect a person from the top to something on the bottom, and you have to kind of you're laying tiles out, and then the black spots on the board are where the Nixon administration have kind of they've blocked you from going that route, so you might have to go around the board in another direction. So there's certain ways you have to connect these spots, but all in all, you're gonna this is probably a little older kid. I would say middle school. They put 12 plus. I think that's probably a good age for this, especially if you want to be able to teach and learn about this. So
yeah.
Aaron and I actually we did a playthrough.
Oh, you did a
not too long
date,
ago,
right? And you play this on a date?
We played it on a live stream. I don't know. Was that a date?
Does that count as a date?
I think so. But
Rain was saying that some people have gotten the cards signed by the actual people that are represented in the game.
Interesting. That's a really cool idea. But yeah, this is just pretty easy to learn, pretty easy to pick up, but just a lot of great history. And I really like history. So this one speaks to me. Thanks for that sub.
Yeah, thanks, Knox.
Sub. I'm struggling today, man.
Subatomic.
Subatomic. Cool. That is.
I haven't gotten mine to table yet. That's why I have so many questions. Shocker. I have a game I haven't played, but I want to. I bought it because you played it and you were like, this game's good. Everybody else has said that, but I don't care what they say. You said that this game was good. Yeah. So I bought it.
Well, get it to the table. Make it happen.
You're not my dad. Hey, here's a new game for everybody.
Yeah, it's called Dungeons and Dragons or something.
Yeah, Dunglions.
Danglins and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I know this isn't a tabletop game necessarily. You all. Okay.
Look.
I get it. I just know that there's going to be some nerds out there and say, oh, technically it's a tabletop RPG.
But it's a tabletop. It wins.
Just follow us, okay? Just follow us, because those of you who haven't played Dungeons and Dragons, you should. And those of you who have played it, you already know this. This game is going to teach your people, whoever you're trying to teach, storytelling, imagination. There's going to be some math in there with your dice rolls and your stat points. Really like being able to take the creativity that we all have and just use it. Like, don't hold it in, be yourself, be this character, whoever it is. And like, just have fun with it. Like the storytelling aspect is just huge in this game.
I am constantly surprised in a good way at how often people are willing to play Dungeons and Dragons. And I'll just say tabletop RPGs in general, right? Dungeons and Dragons happens to be like a licensed thing, but like any kind of TTRPG, how often people want to play that. And I mean, it's like, hey, are you playing? Do you want to play? I'll play right now. Like I'll quit my job and we'll go play D&D. But like, also like it blows me away how fast people can think on their feet.
Yep.
After playing D&D, like your first game, you might be like, well, I don't know if I can do this or if whatever. And then your next one's like, I conjure a sea turtle and it eats everybody. Like you just like the stuff that people think about when they're playing these kinds of games, like is crazy. And legitimately speaking, I'm not joking at all. Bosses that play D&D are more likely to hire people who play D&D, not necessarily to play with them, but because they know that they can think on their feet, they're nimble, and they work well with teams. And so, like,
make it happen. Yep, make it happen. I don't think
and look at all this cool stuff you get to wear.
That's right.
Look at all Willie Byers over here.
No. We have one more game. We've gone through 12, and thank you all for hanging out with us. This game,
this is the capstone.
Yeah, you might be surprised by this one because, this game's been around for forever.
Yeah, Domino's coming to Kickstarter
with an E
this summer.
Yeah, with an E.
Yeah, not the pizza.
Yeah, not the pizza.
I know what you're thinking. Not the pizza.
I don't ever play Domino's. You do.
Well, yeah, dude. I live in Texas, and so like family reunions and Mexican train and stuff like that. Like that's a thing that exists. That's why you have on here 2 to 4 players.
Hey, the internet said 2 to 4 players.
You can argue, and I'm like, dude, the Mexican train thing has like 8 people that play off of it, and so.
I don't know.
Like the thing about it, legitimately speaking, I was talking to Ann about it this morning, and she was like, "Oh, Domino's teach you math. They teach you, strategy. You have to be nimble. If somebody plays somewhere where you're going to play, the whole point of Domino's, if you've not played, is to get all of all your bones, all your dominoes out of your hand, and so they have to make sense though, and so like it's just." So I bought like 2 or 3 sets of like a ton of dominoes.
They made with real bones?
Oh yeah, ivory, absolutely. Yeah. The bones of my enemies.
Yeah, that's right.
But there's not a whole lot to say about dominoes. There are 59,000 games you can play with them,
right.
Or you can just set them up and knock them down, and then
that's
you learn.
That's my domino rally. Yeah, it's more my jam.
But I mean, I wanted to put this on the list, A, because I thought it was a great idea, and B, because I want us to know and understand that you don't have to play the most interesting and weird, like out there brand new game. It's like there are games that you have in your house that you can use to teach and learn things.
Yep. I was going to say Uno because we play a lot of Uno. Like that's pretty number and color recognition. So yeah.
All those kinds of games, man.
Really, I think all this, we said 13 plus a couple. Just be thoughtful when you're playing games with people. Like you really can turn almost any game into a learning experience for whomever you're teaching. So these are just 13 of the ones we like to play. And honestly, I'll say this: you all are asking in the chat, like if we're going to have a list of this. If that's something you're interested in writing up for us, like. Bubba and I don't really do the writing, but we want to empower others to do it. So we have all these games written out in a document with some little bit of information about it. But if it's something you're interested in writing up for others to read, let us know. You can send Bubba an email, bubba@lovethynerd.com, or me or Drew or whomever. So
Kate is actually working on creating an article out of, and I say article, it's a listicle, right?
Listicle,
it's just, images and stuff. She's kind of templating from last week's show. Quick and easy games to get to the table. And so if you want to do that, if you want to be that person, just hit me up and let me know, because we would like to more frequently post these things that we do. We're going to do it with more intentionality rather than just, play the game today, whatever. We're going to try and find a vein to hit to introduce you guys to games and help you get more games to table, because we think that that's super important in building relationships, which is really the thing that we're trying to do. So the more games you know about,
the more
people you can reach. Yeah. The more you know.
Hey, Kate. Awesome. Hey, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to, don't go anywhere, because Frost is going to be streaming directly after us. He's probably ready to go. So he's got an itchy finger here to get it going. But yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out. Let's
drag it out then. Let's see how long we can. Hey, be sure to go and check out lovethynerd.com for all of the cool things that we do. !LTN in the chat here. Also, we don't talk about this very often. We talk about it some, but not a lot, and I don't want anybody to feel obligated. But if you would like to financially partner with us to help us continue to do stuff like this, our website, our podcasts, our mission trips, all the stuff that we do, please head on over to lovethynerd.com/partner, !partner in the chat. And you can learn more about that. And if you have any specific questions, please feel free to contact me, Bubba@lovethynerd.com. I would love to chat with you a little bit more about that. But ministry costs money. We literally could not do this stuff without you. So thank you for the bits, the subs here on Twitch, all that good stuff. And for those of you that partner with us financially on a monthly or semi-annual basis, we appreciate that. Hey, we're going to get out of here, but don't go anywhere. Like Matt said, Frost is going to be right here playing Vidya games, and you're going to want to hang out with him, spend some time, lurk.
Yo, thanks for that.
Whoa, coming in with that raid.
Appreciate that.
Much appreciated. That is RC Bible Nerd. Thank you so much for that raid.
Hello there.
Hey, you raided at the perfect time. We're about to end, but don't go anywhere.
Not really. We're ending.
We're about to.
Frost will be here, and if it doesn't pop up, refresh your tab, refresh your screen. It'll come on up after that. So
absolutely.
There you go.
Well, hey, we're gonna get out of here, but once again, my name's Bubba.
And my name's Matt.
You forgot for a second.
Well, yeah,
I was like, did I call myself Matt again?
You usually say it. Like I don't usually. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, forget what he said. His name's Matt. We're the Beard Bros, and if no one else tells you this, just remember it's true. Jesus loves you, nerds.